a start to finish small business sales system, then I am going to blow your mind today, because that is exactly what we're going to be covering. Hey everybody, I'm Allie Bloyd, your favorite local marketing expert, agency owner, speaker, 2 Comma Club award winner, and the founder of Allie Bloyd Media, a leading training and consultancy focused on helping you generate more leads, close more sales, increase profit, and increase the ability to find freedom in your business. So today we're going to talk about that start to finish small business sales system. So first things first, what does it actually take to increase sales and return on ad spend? So back before I started my business, I was working as a marketing director for a large home renovation store and remodeling business. So I was responsible for generating all the leads, doing all the social media, running the ads, all of that good stuff. And when I finally started to really crack the code on paid ads, I noticed something really interesting. The sales team was dropping the ball completely. I would consistently follow up with them to see, hey, where are those leads in the sales process that I sent over to you? And too many times to count, they had not contacted them. They had contacted them 2 weeks after they reached out. They had just dropped the ball in terms of showing up for some of the calls or appointments that were being scheduled. And they definitely weren't following up with the past leads that they had appointments with that had not yet been closed. So what does that mean? It means that they were not turning the leads that were being brought in into paying customers. If that's the case in your business, you're not just losing out on the opportunity of closing those leads. You could actually be losing money altogether, especially if you're running any type of paid advertising. You're paying for those leads. If those leads don't convert, you are losing that money. So that's when it really struck me. Marketing is not just about lead generation. It's about customer acquisition. So I knew that I needed to create a start to finish sales system that would do a couple of things. Number one, it would increase the outcome of those leads to begin with. So more leads converting to appointments, more appointments converting to sales, more sales converting to happy customers. It would also ensure that the lines of communication were really strong so that those leads who were on the fence about moving forward felt like they were a priority. They knew that we were thinking about them, checking in on them, making sure that those questions were answered. It also was going to be something that really took the pressure off of the sales team. Now, at the end of the day, if you're in sales, your job is to follow up. Your job is to have those sales conversations. But we're only human. So that means that we're going to drop the ball sometimes. People are going to slip through the cracks. We're going to forget. And there's only so many hours in the day. So we are simply not going to have enough time to do all of the follow-up that is truly required to get someone to convert. So again, when it comes to increasing sales and increasing return on investment, we've got to have all the pieces in place that maximize what we're doing on the lead generation side to help the people who are responsible for closing the sales to earn more, to stay with us longer, and to really feel like their time is spent on the things that only they can do. So number one, when it comes to increasing our revenue, increasing our return, we've first got to have advertising that's producing leads at an acceptable cost, at a cost that's within your KPIs, whatever those look like for your business. So I have a ton of different trainings on lead generation, lead gen strategies, all of that good stuff. So we're not going to go really in depth into that today. But if you want to check out some of my other content on that, then I'd highly encourage you to do if this is not a piece you currently really have down pat. But that is going to be the most important step. If you don't have leads, you can't convert them. The next step is turning those leads into customers in a timely manner. So when I say timely manner, that's going to look very different for a variety of business types. If you are an e-commerce store, you might be looking to convert your leads into customers within 7 days. If you are a remodeler, you might be hoping to convert your leads to customers between 3 months and up to a year sometimes. If you're in real estate, it might even take you up to 2 years, sometimes longer, to actually convert those leads. But what we want to do is really maximize that time frame. So there are going to be people that no matter what you do, they're in that 1 year, 2 year, 3 year time frame. But a lot of the time, there are people who could have converted a lot sooner if you had only given them that push to move forward. So whatever an appropriate time frame is on that lead time for your potential clients, that is what we want to try and maximize. We also need those customers who are buying from you to spend more and/or to spend with higher frequency. So if you're a recurring revenue business, we can easily double your revenue simply by getting your existing client base to buy from you more frequently. I think that is such an underutilized strategy when it comes to revenue growth, but that's a very easy thing to do if you know which parts and pieces you can implement to make that happen faster. We also need the time of you and your team to be fully maximized. Again, there are only so many hours in the day. What we need to do is be able to spend our time focusing on only the things that we can do as humans and let technology, AI, and automation do whatever we don't have to personally do. So there are obviously a lot of things that need to be set up for you to have a really strong automated system, but that's part of what we're going to be covering today. So you're also paying your team members to do this work for you. You can save money right out of the gate by eliminating some of those manual tasks that people in your business might be doing right now that they do not have to do. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to cut somebody's hours or that you need to fire them. What it could mean is that you can really maximize that individual and give them tasks that are revenue producing activities or things that are really important on the back end for fulfillment, things that make sense, but cannot be done by AI or automation. So if you do not want to grow a large team, this is another benefit. You can get more done with a smaller number of members on your team. The big question is, how do we make that happen? There's a couple of things that we need to do to create this start to finish approach for our small business sales system. So number one, we need to create the path. That means proper strategy and planning need to be in place. If you don't have the right strategy, none of this is really going to work as it's intended. If you don't plan on the front end, you're really not going to be able to implement this very successfully. The next thing we need to do is master lead generation, and that means using the right offers. Offers is something I talk about a lot. It's very important that you choose the right offers for your business or the individual products and services within your business. You might have 2 core product offerings, but the lead gen strategy that is appropriate for each one of those might look significantly different. So don't skip over this step. This is not something that can take basic product and service and really blow it out of the water if you don't have those ideal offers in place. The next thing we need to do is maximize conversions. We need to implement the right sales systems, and that's what we're going to be talking a lot about today. Next, we need to create raving fans. People who loved the experience of working with us or that outcome we provided or the excitement that they had at having that final outcome finally materialize. We need them to be hyped up about it so they will tell other people, and you can really get more reviews, more testimonials, more word of mouth referrals. And then also making sure that the fulfillment of your product and service is strong so they will have those positive feelings by the time that process is complete. And then we need to leverage automation. We need to be able to get more done with less time. Again, fewer team members, less human error, which is only natural, and with potentially less time from your existing team members so they can spend more time doing what you can't automate. So these are a series of things that I have seen most marketers or small business owners get wrong when it comes to implementing their marketing and sales systems. So if any of these things apply to you, this is something that you're really going to want to pay attention to moving forward. Now, if any of these things do apply to you, I don't want you to feel like I'm pointing you out or singling you out. These things are very common, very widespread, but they are stunting your growth. So number one, you've never actually planned out your full customer journey. That customer journey is going to be from the very beginning, that time when someone first encounters your business, all the way through to the point where they are telling their friends and family members and the people in their audience about you and encouraging others to buy from you as well. The next is you advertise your core offer 100% of the time, and you're only advertising that to a cold traffic audience. The next one is you only focus on cost per lead when it comes to your results. You're not really tracking or looking at the metrics on the back end. Maybe you spend all your time optimizing your ads, but you're never really looking at your back end process. Another one is you don't follow up with leads who don't schedule or who don't buy. This is a huge money waster. Or maybe you follow up only once, but they never hear from you again. And then finally, your support and your fulfillment systems are chaotic and they're inefficient. So if any of these things, again, apply to you, you really need to, number one, stop doing them. Whatever I've just mentioned is not how you should be operating. So take note of the areas that, feel a little personal to you and say, these are things that I am going to prioritize. These are things that I'm going to stop doing and that I'm going to fix. So the first issue is that short-sighted marketer. This is the person who does not necessarily look at the big picture. Again, this could be a marketer, an agency, or the small business owner themselves. So if you are the short-sighted marketer, then you are ultimately only looking at that first piece of the puzzle. How many leads can I get in? Or maybe you're driving leads into one specific offer, but you're not really thinking about what happens after that offer, ascending them through your customer value journey. If that is the case, you've got to stop that because this is a big picture here. Your business is not a silo of individual products and services. It's all interconnected. Even if you have different services, different products that apply to different types of people or different avatars, there is a very high likelihood that there's a ton of crossover. There's a lot of the opportunities for upsells, cross-sells, downsells, and continuity offers. The second issue is the leads are all I care about marketer. So this is somebody who's a little bit different. They measure their campaigns based on cost per lead, not on cost per event, like a schedule, or on customer acquisition cost. So maybe their advertising appears to be working from a lead generation standpoint. Maybe they're getting those leads at a decent cost, but they never really take the time to see how much revenue was produced from the leads that were brought in. What is the average length of that buying cycle? The next would be, these leads are poor quality marketer. So this is something that if you are an agency owner listening to this, I can guarantee you have heard this time and time again. You generate leads for a business and they say, we're glad we're getting leads, but they're not good quality. So the number one thing to keep in mind is, what does quality actually mean to you? And again, if you're that small business owner and you've been generating your own leads and you felt like we're getting leads, but they're not quality leads, this applies to you all the same. You need to know what a quality lead actually entails. A quality lead to me is someone who's interested in the product and service. They've given you their contact information to show you that they're interested in taking the next step. Anyone who has intent is technically a quality lead. Does that mean that they're going to be the right fit for your product, your service, your price point, the way that you do things? Absolutely not. But that is just a part of the marketing game. You're always going to generate leads that are not a good fit for you. But the better job you can do of understanding what quality really looks like, the better chance we have of implementing things into your process that are going to allow you to better segment those leads, maybe qualify and disqualify those leads. But again, don't assume that just because somebody doesn't answer the phone the first time you call, that means that they are not qualified. This is typically less of the problem with the lead, and it's more of a problem with the sales process. You also need to have the right strategies when it comes to what you're saying on the phone when you're reaching out to people, and how you are ascending them through your process as a whole. The next one is the failure to follow up marketer. This is pretty straightforward. You simply do not follow up with your leads, and this can happen for a variety of reasons. The number one thing is lack of time. You are wearing so many hats, you just can't seem to find the time to get around to it. And while that is understandable, it doesn't really make it acceptable because, again, you're generating these leads, whether it's from the time and energy and effort you're putting into organic methods or the money that you're spending to generate paid advertising leads. That's money sitting in your pipeline. You have to prioritize that. That is a revenue producing activity when it comes to following up with your leads. So a lot of times they don't really understand the importance of speed to lead. This is critical, and a lot of people don't want to hear it because they don't have the time, but you really need to be reaching out to your leads within the first 5 minutes. That is the ideal time frame. But there are things that we can do. There are things that we can automate to make this a lot easier and a lot more efficient. So this does not have to be a manual task 100% of the time. I will say that there is always a benefit to having a real human being in this process. But the goal, and what I'm hoping to show you throughout this training today, is to understand where your time needs to be prioritized in terms of the leads that you are generating. So what we want to do is make sure that our leads are not wondering what the next step is, that they're not just sitting there waiting for someone to contact them, and that never happens. Otherwise, they are going to reach out to your competitors and they are going to speak with the first person that they can speak to, set that appointment, and go ahead and move forward in that sales process instead of yours. The next one is going to be the one and done marketer. So this is similar to the failure to follow up marketer, but this is someone who only reaches out once and they never reach out again. This is often due to time. Sometimes it's because they really don't understand that you have to contact people multiple times to get through. I know from my own personal experiences, and I'm sure that if you think back on your own personal experiences, there have been a variety of times that you have opted in for something, you've reached out for some sort of information from a business, and then when the time comes that they call you back, you're simply not in a position to answer the phone. This happens to me all the time. I'm on calls, I'm recording videos, I'm in the middle of doing things with my family, and I simply do not have the ability to pick up that phone and take their call. Then by the time my workday is done, I'm not going to be looking at my missed calls just itching to call them back. They need to be the ones staying top of mind with me. It is not my role as the consumer to be thinking about that business 24/7. We all have 1,000 things going on in our lives, and you need to understand that even that person who wants your product or service, they are not always thinking about you. You've got to stay on top of them. And then the next one is the too much, too soon marketer. This is somebody who is always in sell mode. Every ad, every communication is always buy, buy, buy. They're never actually engaging in a real conversation. They're never actually taking someone from point A to point B to point C. They're trying to get you from A to Z in one fell swoop. And while there are times when that does happen, it is not extremely common. There have been many studies that show that it takes anywhere between 8 and 32 touch points to convert a lead into a sale. Those touch points can come from a variety of places, but the odds are that you have very few touch points in place and you need to increase those. The other thing is maybe you really need to increase those in specific areas, which we're going to cover throughout the rest of this training. But realize that you cannot just throw your core offer on somebody and expect them to immediately receive it, pay you, and become a happy customer. It simply does not work like that 99% of the time. You need to set appropriate expectations so that you know what is step 1 that you're looking for, what is step 2. And if you can see the progress of taking your leads through those series of steps, then you know that you're doing your job and you are moving people from lead to sale in a really predictable fashion. So if any of those resonate with you, there's a couple of serious problems with that. Number 1, you're wasting the opportunities with those leads who could convert, but they are not converting. You're also wasting money on those ads that don't produce sales, like I mentioned before. You're wasting time, which is also money, focusing on the wrong things instead of the things that would actually change your situation. And you're not able to scale as quickly as you want to. So what you need is a system that's going to take your leads from start to finish. This is an illustration of what that would look like. You start with an ad, or maybe it's a social platform where you're posting content, or maybe it's just in-person communications. It could be TV advertising, radio advertising, whatever that is. So we need a way to take that person who's on the other end of that advertising, and we need to connect them to a destination. That destination might be a text message or a phone call, might be a funnel or a landing page, might be a lead form, maybe it's a DM. We also then need to say, all right, once they have done that step, that text, call, funnel, lead form, DM, what is my next destination? That destination is either going to be to schedule something or to buy something. But okay, what happens next? We need another connection. We need a way to pull those people into our CRM, make sure they're moving in the pipeline. We need to segment them based on what it is they're scheduling for or what product they're purchasing. And then we need a way to ascend them. Maybe that is a lead follow-up campaign. Maybe that's an appointment reminder campaign. Maybe it is an indoctrination campaign or a reactivation or ascension campaign. Then typically we're going to have another destination. Maybe that's another phone call or a video consult, an in-person meeting, or a product that they are purchasing. We're then going to have another connection or automation that takes place to then either say, okay, you've purchased, here's what you've purchased, here's what happens next. We've marked you as a purchasing customer. We've segmented you into our purchasing customers list so that we can continue to re-engage you and try and get you to buy with more frequency. Or maybe it is, okay, this person has had a call. Now we are trying to close them. We know what their concerns are. We know what their timing issues are. We're going to continue to follow up with them. So being able to keep really great track of what those conversations were like, the situations those leads were in, what they told you, what stage of that process they're truly in, and then ultimately leading to closing the sale, and then hopefully upselling that person into that next best offer for them. But the truth is, you may not know what that actually looks like for your business. It's easy to say, but it's not always easy to really understand when it comes to your products and services. So this is the process of planning that out. The first thing you need to do is you need to select your business model. So do you have a physical product, a digital product, or a service? Do you sell high ticket? Do you have a medium to high ticket recurring product or a low ticket recurring product or service? So those selections will really help you understand what the best type of system will look like for your business. Now we need to understand what your best next step looks like. Is that a direct purchase? That'd be something like an e-commerce store. Is it a scheduled call or a Zoom appointment? Is it an in-person appointment? Or is it a visit to your location? This might be something like a retailer. The next thing we need to do is we need to map out your value ladder. The first thing that you might want to look at is, do we have any gated content offers? Do we have any entry point offers? So this might be called a loss leader as well. So what is that first step type of purchase, that lower pressure type of purchase that gets people in the door or into our purchasing customers list for the very first time? What is that core offer and what is that back end offer? So I'll walk you through some of mine. So I have a variety of gated content offers. I have some free video trainings that people can opt in for. I have a KPI calculator workbook. I have a Facebook ads ultimate jumpstart pack. So I have an offer creation workbook. Those are all gated content offers. I present really amazing content. I say, hey, you can have this if you give me your contact info. They opt in, and then I'm going to present them with my next step. Okay. That next step could be my entry point offer, or it could be my core offer. So an entry point offer is something like my ultimate high level masterclass or my local lead generation masterclass. Those two masterclasses are priced at $47. I also have some digital products that can be purchased alongside of those. So those offers help me identify who is that ideal customer for me. If someone is looking to purchase the local lead generation masterclass, I know that they need help with local lead generation. If someone is looking to purchase the ultimate high-level masterclass, I know that they need help with high level or they're interested in learning about high level. That is not the offer that makes the money for my business at the end of the day, though. That is my entry point offer. So what is my core offer? That is my local marketing mastery mentorship. That is my 12-month mentorship program where I teach small business owners and agency owners how to create their own social marketing system, how to really generate leads on their own, convert those leads into sales effectively. That core offer is where a lot of people stop. There are other people, however, that ascend to my back-end offers. Those back-end offers would be our setup packages. Those are higher ticket. It's where we build out everything for you. We will help you strategize. We'll help you create those offers, build out your funnels, your systems, your automations, your ad account, your ad campaigns. We'll launch those ads for you. And then I also have my mastermind called the Expert Class. That is for people who maybe they've succeeded in their local business or their agency, and now they want to create a 7-figure info business. They want to sell their knowledge and their information to others through coaching or SaaS or consulting or courses. So that is what my value ladder looks like. That could look totally different for you. Virtually every business has got endless opportunities for gated content offers, and most of them don't take advantage of those. But I've seen even more businesses that fail to have an entry point offer. Now, every business is a little bit different. I've worked with so many different industries that there are absolutely times when there is not a really strong entry point offer that you can create depending on what it is you do. But there is still a way to do that. A lot of times, those offers are just things that you do in your business that you don't actually realize are entry point offers. So for example, let's say you're in real estate. Okay. You can't offer people a discount on their home. Your core offer is listing their home and getting that commission, or helping someone buy their home and getting that commission. Your entry point offer, however, could be a live seminar. That is an example of an entry point offer for real estate. Another example could be a consultation. So a lot of people view their consultations as just a part of the process, not really an offer. And because of that, they fail to really spice that up and make that exciting and show people what the benefits are. There are a lot of things that you could do in a consultation that is really beneficial to the person that you're working with. So can you help them with their budgeting? Can you help them get all of their documents in line? Can you create a specific timeline for them? Those are things that you could do as part of your entry point offer, and you can shift the language around that to make it a lot more enticing to the people who would potentially benefit from that. Then again, you're going to have your core offer, and your back-end offer for a lot of people may just be, let me help you again in the future. So again, if you're in real estate, I helped you buy your first house. Now let me sell your first house and buy another house. That may be your back-end offer. It could also be referrals or things like that. So back-end could also mean continuity offers or having the ability to get people in for those additional services that maybe they weren't a good fit for originally, and now they potentially are, or maybe they were a good fit for other things all along. And now that they trust you and they know they've had a good experience in their business, they're willing to try other things. So for example, you're a chiropractor. That is your core offer, is your chiropractic initial exam and adjustment, the things that you do in that very first visit typically. But you might also have massage packages. You might also have full treatment plans for specific things. You might also help people with their custom orthotics and their supplements. So there's a lot of things that every business could really do, but you're never going to understand how all those pieces work together if you don't map that out. Now you need to look at 3 stages of your system. The first stage is the pre-purchase stage. So we've got several different pieces and purposes behind those. The first is the immediate lead outreach. The purpose is to respond to inbound leads really quickly. The next is potentially your lead magnet delivery. So if you're using a gated content offer, then we want to deliver that gated content offer to that lead. You also want to have a lead nurture. This is going to direct your leads to a pre-qualification step or to that best next step. A pre-qualification submission. So if you're also doing some sort of pre-qualification survey, that's something that I do, we are going to direct those pre-qualified leads now to their best next step. You also want your next step confirmation. So we talked about that next step earlier. What is that for you? Is that a phone call? Is that a Zoom call? Is that an initial purchase? Is that an in-person meeting potentially? So what is that next step? We need to confirm that with them if they've taken that. The next one would be a next step no-show/cancellation. We want to direct those people to reschedule. And then a next step follow-up or a quote delivery. So let's say that person has been on the phone with you or been on that Zoom call with you, but they did not convert. What happens next? We need something that will deliver their pricing if you do custom quotes or follow up to close that sale. So those are your core pre-purchase automations that you need in place to really strengthen your sales system to convert more leads into paying customers. Next, we're going to have our purchase pieces. So the pieces of the system would be your purchase abandon. That's going to redirect hot leads back to checkout. So that might also be people who take the first step to schedule a call, but they do not actually finish scheduling that call. Or maybe it's somebody who's scheduled the call, but they have not filled out that application after. So we're going to redirect them back to that next step. Then we're going to have that purchase confirmation. So what happens when somebody actually buys from you? Okay. Do we get a new customer welcome workflow? Do we give them a receipt? Do we give them login credentials? Do we give them access to an onboarding portal to show them what those next steps look like? Then we need a nurture to upsell. That should direct new customers to the best next offer. That does not mean you have to do that immediately. In some cases, you would want to, especially if you're selling products. If there are other products that are a great fit for that person, go ahead and introduce them to those. They may have only been looking for one thing initially, but now, again, they've purchased from you, they've trusted you, they've given you their credit card information. What else could be of benefit? For some of us, we might not start talking about that until after they've had the ability to go through that product or that service and really have a great end result. But there are so many businesses that never talk to their existing client base about the other offers that they sell. Those are the people that trust you the most. They're going to be the most willing to try something new. So you simply need to let them know about it with some sort of frequency. Then we need an upsell abandon. So let's say they engage, they talk about wanting to take you up on that next offer, but they never actually do it. Or maybe they fill out an application for the mastermind, but they never convert or schedule the mastermind application call. We need to revisit those people. We need to redirect them to that next step. The goal here is to always keep people moving forward to the next step of the process. Then we're also going to have that upsell confirmation. So very similar to the purchase confirmation, this is going to be that next set of welcome emails or onboarding or whatever that looks like for you. And then nurture to a back-end offer. So the back-end offer, again, could be recurring reminders for scheduling different appointments. If you're a chiropractor, if you're a massage therapist, something that helps them stay in a regular pattern of purchasing with frequency. It could be just simply nurturing them to send out your name as a referral to their contacts. You could have referral contests. It could even technically be requesting video testimonials from the people who have purchased those best products and services. So this does not have to look the same for everyone. If you feel like, oh, there's no way I could have that piece in my business, that's not true. You just really need to plan this out. Again, focused around your products, your services, and your sales process. And I will say that as we're going through this, you really simply need to reevaluate your sales process as a whole. So maybe when I talked about that next step earlier, you were thinking, I just want someone to come into my physical location. We don't have a phone call or a Zoom call or something like that. I'm not a retailer, but I just want them to come in, walk through the door. You are losing out on a lot of potential sales if you do not have a step prior to that. Could be as simple as a 5-minute phone call, allowing people to schedule a 5-minute phone call. Could be a text message automation survey to get them placed with the right offer or the right solution, and also generate more information for your business in terms of who they are and what they're looking for. There is always a next step. And I have seen so many businesses that I've worked with in the past, they don't have those next steps in place. And I say, why don't we add a 15-minute discovery call that someone can self-schedule? And that one piece takes them from people who have only given them contact information that they're having to do outbound outreach to consistently, to now, I have a huge segment of that audience that's now scheduling a time to talk to me. I know exactly when I can connect with those people. I know that these people are more excited to move forward than some of those other leads because they are saying, I want to put you on my calendar. I really want to take the time to make sure this is the right fit for me. And it just reduces the follow-up burden on the business. That one step can really change the game in a lot of scenarios. So use this as an opportunity to just evaluate or reevaluate your entire sales process as a whole. So with that being said, now we're into the post-purchase pieces of this framework. So next, we've got quality control. So this is going to ensure that a client is happy after they have completed that process. Review request, asking them for a Google review, a Yelp review, something like that. Next service or purchase overdue. So again, we talked about that a little bit in that nurture to that back-end offer if you don't have one. This could also be that for you, but this is huge for businesses that have any sort of recurring element to their business. You need to remind people, like we talked about early on, your leads and potential customers are not sitting there all day thinking about you. They may be thinking about their problems that you solve, but they're not thinking about them all day, every day. I know so many times I think about something and I say, man, I really need to reach out to somebody about this. And then something happens. My daughter calls my name, needs help with something. I get an email I need to respond to. Whatever it is, takes your mind off of it, and you are no longer thinking about that. So you need to be on the front end of reminding those customers. Referral requests as well. Referrals are an amazing source of additional revenue. It's very easy for you to close. Referrals close easier than any other type of lead. So we want to say, hey, I know you loved working with us. Why don't you ask other people if they would be interested in working with us as well? You can give them an incentive. And if you do that, you'd be surprised at how many additional referrals you'll get from your existing customer base. We also need to have referral confirmation or outreach. So when that referral comes in, are we going to follow up with them? Are we going to put them in something that will check in with them over time? Because that person may not be thinking about you 24/7, even if they are a great fit for what you do. We also want list nurture. This is something that needs to push those colder leads towards the sale, closer to the sale. That's going to be somebody who maybe opts in, but they never scheduled a call. They never booked the appointment. And they never booked the meeting. They never show up to the event. They never make the purchase. They still had the interest, but they never took action on anything else after that. Those leads are not dead. Trust me when I tell you, I have seen it happen over and over again. So one really great example of this is one of the students in my mastermind. He was one of the very first mastermind students that enrolled. When I looked back through his activity to see where did he come into my system from? What offer was it? How long has he been on my list? What's he done in the meantime? He opted in for a gated content offer in 2020. He never scheduled a call. He never responded to an email or a text or anything like that. And then when the time was right and I had the right offer for him, he scheduled the call. He purchased the highest ticket thing that I offer, and it was a great fit, that is one of many examples that I could give you of people who might be on your list that are just unconverted. They're not uninterested. They're not dead leads. So stop thinking about your leads as dead or abandoned or lost until they tell you, I will never work with you. Or if you're B2B, I've closed my business. Or if you're B2C, I have zero need for what you sell any longer. I've already had that fulfilled, or I no longer have that problem that product or service would solve. That is the only time I consider somebody a truly dead, lost, or abandoned lead. So we want to continuously have lead nurture. You can automate a lot of this. I personally do a lot of email marketing, and those things are not automated. I plan out my emails for the week, and those are things that are coming from me. They are timely. They're based on what's really happening in my business at that time. They're based on the things that are happening in my life, so they're a lot more personal, and I'd highly encourage you to do the same. So again, you can create some really solid nurture workflows, but you do not have to do all of that in an automated fashion, and there are a lot of benefits to actually not automating that at the end of the day. And then finally, we have past lead reactivation. So the people who they were interested, similar to the list nurture, but this is a way to get them in with more of a sense of urgency. Do we have a time-sensitive offer that we can present to them to try and drive cash? Reactivation campaigns are an amazing opportunity to just reinvigorate your list, get people who are already on your list back into that sales process, reignited, start going through those automations again, and have that opportunity to take that next step. Whereas they may have completed a lot of their automations a long time ago, so they may not be hearing from you at all if you're not doing ongoing list nurture like I just discussed. So now, if you really want to take it to the next level and maximize that ROI, we can also do internal sales and support related automations and pieces of our system. So number one, we could do a customer support ticketing system. The purpose behind it would be to make it easy for the people who are dealing with your support to track the progress of those leads, make sure that they are successfully completing every support request that comes through. So you could use something like Help Scout. I do this internally in Highlevel, which is what I use for virtually everything else. So just makes it easy because our support requests are often coming through Highlevel anyway. So we have a system that allows us to tag a lead for support. They go into our support pipeline. The person that I have doing support is able to look at those and make sure that they're moving those forward in the pipeline. Also, a sales auto dialer. So having the ability for your team, whoever those people are that are making outbound phone calls, to speed through those calls as quickly as possible. That's going to make it much more efficient, even though it's still a manual task in terms of the fact that they're making those calls manually. They don't have to dial every single number and click on the next person in the list. It is a much faster way to do that. So you're going to get through a lot more calls and you're ultimately going to make a lot more sales. Cold email responses. So if you're doing cold email, you can make sure that those responses never slip through the cracks. If they're not clicking the link to buy or schedule, they might just be asking a question. You want to make sure that something notifies you of those. Maybe you can automate the responses based on those questions, but you need to have something in place to make that more effective. Hot lead chatting or trigger links being clicked. So if people are responding to your text messages, if they are responding to your emails, hopefully you've got somebody that's checking that every single day. But if you're doing a lot of this yourself, you may not be looking at it all the time. You need some sort of notification and some sort of segmentation process that allows you to see who are the people that are actively responding to me, but they have not yet taken that next step so that I can talk to them to get them to take that next step. You might also have emails that are going out that indicate somebody is interested in something specifically. If they are clicking a link to a video that's talking about a specific solution that you offer, you need to know that. You want your sales team to be able to say, hey, this person is actively engaging. They're checking out this video. That means that they're interested right now. I'm going to follow up with them while it's fresh on their mind. You also want internal task and lead assignment. So this is something that you can do within Highlevel CRM or Pipeline Patriot if you get on my version of Highlevel. This is also something you can do in other project management platforms such as Notion, which is what I use. You can do it in Asana, ClickUp, etc. But it's great to do it where your leads are actually communicating. So making sure that those tasks that are associated with leads are tracked in that same place. Because if you take them from your CRM and you try and create tasks around them in another system, that might work just fine, but it's just one more step that you have to go to, one more program you have to go to. Whereas if you are keeping track of those within the CRM, it makes it a lot more likely you're going to take action on that right away. You also want to have internal onboarding systems. If you're bringing on new team members, what can we do to get those people up to speed as quickly as possible on our processes, on the ways that we do things, get them their training, documentation, and make sure that they feel confident in their ability to support your business. And then internal installation or fulfillment workflows. So this is going to allow you to make sure that if you are taking someone through a more long-term or complex process. So a great example of this would be my setup packages. This takes between 45 and 60 days. There's several different phases of the process. We actually have an onboarding funnel that walks people through these different steps, allows them to upload the assets that we need from them, allows them to schedule their calls when the time is right, that reminds them about their next step when they go through the previous step, or again, when that time is right based on where they are in the pipeline, and allows us to just rest easier knowing that client is fully educated on where they are, what they need to do, and that we can also see that really easily as well. So what should some of these workflows actually consist of? I know it's easy to say, here's what you need to have, but what would that look like? So here are some things that I always consider when it comes to creating a workflow. So number one, is there someone who should be notified? Number two, is there a change in the pipeline that we need to make to reflect this step that's been taken? Number three, what type of confirmation or communication do we need to have with the person who's taking this action? What is the logical next step? So they've done X, Y, and Z. What is that next step they should be taking? What is the ideal length of time for this process? What about tagging, segmentation, attribution? Do we need to consider those things? Do we want to tag them based on what they've done? Do we want to segment them in the future? Do we need to know where they came from? Do we need to update them as a contact, maybe the type of contact from lead to customer? Do we need to update their value? Maybe they're interested in a specific package, so now their value has gone from X to Y. Do we need to update their notes so that it's easy for any team member to look back on this person and see that information? And is there any automation or campaign that should now be removed if this is taking place? So some of the most critical that we're going to talk about are number one, immediate lead follow-up. That's huge. The second one is next step confirmation. So if you just have those two workflows, you can go ahead and get started with some campaigns. That doesn't mean that you're going to stop there, but those are the first two that you need to actually start driving leads in, and then you can build the rest out as you go. You also want to have that purchase abandon or purchase confirmation, particularly if you're selling something directly online. That next purchase overdue, if you are that chiropractor, that massage therapist, that dentist, whatever it is, make sure that you are actively reaching out to people on a regular basis to let them know, hey, it's been a while since we've seen you. Are you ready to schedule your next appointment? Here's the link to do that. It can be as simple as that. Your reactivation campaign as well. The odds are, if you're not doing a lot of the things that we've talked about, you're absolutely not reactivating your past leads. That is a simple one to go ahead and set up and start generating some appointments and some business. And then also a hot lead chatting or that link clicks automation, because again, that's showing you who is interested right now, who's actively thinking about me, my business, my products and services right now. So how can we get to those people faster? And then that long-term nurture, because again, people do not convert overnight. The rare occasions, yes, they will, but just do not expect that. You need to set yourself up for the long game, not just the short game. Most people are only focused on the short game. So if you can be someone that's looking at it with this big picture mentality, you're automatically going to be setting yourself up for success. So what would the recipe look like for that immediate lead follow-up workflow? So for me, it's going to be a notification letting us know we've got a lead, pipeline update. We're going to tag them and get their attribution. We're going to send them a next step email, that contact, say, hey, here's your next step. Thanks for opting in, but here's what you do next. We're also going to send them a text message. We're going to wait 10 minutes. Then we're going to have a manual call. We're going to wait a day. We're going to have a check-in email and text. We're going to have another manual call. Wait a day. We're going to start dripping out some testimonials to them. And then we're going to put them into a nurture. So that's what that would look like for me. So you might be saying, man, that's a lot. You're really blowing these people up. It's not necessarily true. Somebody opts in for a specific reason. We know what that reason is. So these are obviously tailored based on what it is they're coming in from. But you don't do that unless you have this need. If I just say, oh, they opted in, they'll take the next step when they're ready, I wouldn't have half the business that I have today. So while it may seem overwhelming for those of you who don't have any of this in place yet, just know that these are the things that are going to save you time. They're going to help you take more leads and turn them into that next step and ultimately close more in sales. Our next step, confirmation, that's going to be relatively similar. We've got notification, pipeline update, tagging and attribution, confirmation email, confirmation text. We wait a minute and then we're typically going to send out like a text message that's got a question, something that would engage that person to respond back. Most people just don't respond back to confirmation texts and emails. That's natural because they know it's automated. You want something that sounds like it's from a real human. We're going to wait a day. We might send them a video, email, and text message. So that video might say, hey, super excited to talk to you. Here's what that next step's going to look like. Make sure you do X, Y, and Z before our call or appointment to help them be better prepared. Then we also might wait a day and send them those testimonial emails. Just because they've taken that next step does not mean that they're sold yet. So what can we do to give them more confidence in us as a business? Then we're going to wait and have those reminder emails and text leading up to that appointment. If it's a call, Zoom call, in-person appointment, or an event, so that they do not miss that. For a purchase abandon, we're going to have a pipeline stage update, tagging and attribution. We're going to wait 10 minutes. Then we're going to send them an abandoned cart email and abandoned cart text. If they don't act on it, we're going to wait a day and have a risk reversal email saying, hey, if you try this and you don't love it, here's what we're going to give you. Try and make that as simple as possible. These people were very interested. They started to take action and they stopped. Something stopped them. So we want to try and help them overcome those things. Then we're going to wait and have that time-sensitive email and text. Again, really trying to maximize the conversions of these particularly is going to really help you close a lot more sales. And I will say, as we're going through these, you should always be removing people from these workflows as it makes sense. So again, with this purchased abandon, I'm going to make sure that if they purchase, I'm removing them from the nurture. If somebody schedules, I'm removing them from that lead follow-up. So that was in the list of things to always consider before you're building these out. Make sure that is done. So there's no way that I can insert in here all the different workflows that I remove people from, because in some cases, I might have 5 different workflows they could have been in before taking that next step. I don't always remove from all workflows. To me, that could potentially remove them from something they really needed. And so I'm more intentional about which specific workflows should be removed, but always keep that in mind. So this is that purchase confirmed, or maybe it's that onboarding if you have more of a service. So we're going to notify, pipeline update, tag and attribution. We're going to update that contact. They went from a lead to a customer. We're going to remove them from any of those nurtures and send them their welcome email, their welcome text. For me, we're going to add them to the video portal. We're going to wait 1 day. We're going to tell them what's next in an email and text message. We're going to wait 1 day. We're going to tell them, how do they get support? And then we're going to send a review or referral request as it makes sense. Our recipe for that next purchase or service overdue, first thing is obviously wait until that service is due. That is going to look different for every business, and it may look different for different services. Let's say you are a salon owner and you have people that do cut, you have people that do color, maybe you do facials or other types of beauty treatments, those might have different recommended timeframes in which someone should come back. So you might have several of these for those different products or services. So wait until that's due, send an email, send a text, wait 7 days, send a reminder and text through email as well, wait 7 days, then give them a special offer email and text. So if they are already overdue, they've waited a couple of weeks, give them a reason to come back in. It doesn't have to be a discount. So nobody wants to discount. That's fine. Sometimes you can, and that's great, but it does not have to be a discount. Give them a bonus. People love bonuses. Give them a reason to go ahead and take action. Wait 7 days, then give them a manual phone call and a personal text to try and get them back in. For a reactivation, it's relatively simple. We're going to have an email and a text that detail a new offer. We're going to wait 2 days. We're going to have a voicemail drop that details that new offer. We're going to wait 2 days, and we've got a last chance email and a last chance text message. That is the entire recipe for reactivation. It can work tremendously well if you only take the time to put it into practice. This does really require you to have a great new offer. It doesn't have to be something that is totally mind-blowing. Maybe it's just the way that you're reframing this. Could be the exact same offer, but you're focusing on one specific piece. Or maybe it's the core offer, but you're going to give them an added bonus if they take action today. So again, try and make this as unique as possible, as enticing as possible, because that's the goal here, to take somebody who was a dead lead, somebody who was not taking action, and give them the incentive to move forward. That hot lead chatting or linked click workflow would be notification, pipeline update, tag and attribution, manual call, sales rep sending them a text, sales rep email, wait 1 day, email and text about getting on the calendar, manual call, and then we would just add them to nurture if they don't respond to any of those. So choosing the platform that will allow you to do all of what I have just detailed is really the key. Pipeline Patriot is what I use to be able to do all of this. It makes my life 1,000 times easier, makes the life of my students 1,000 times easier. They are able to load pre-planned, pre-built templates that I've created for all these different business models into their account so that they don't have to build all of these things from scratch. So if you're interested in learning more about that, you can click the link that's going to be in the description where you can check that out. But definitely feel free to reach out and ask me any questions that you have about this system. But no matter what you're using, I really want to encourage you to reduce the number of platforms that you are using to make this happen. So I used to use between 7 and 10 different programs to do all of this. And it was challenging. It was challenging for the attribution. It was challenging to get people to move in the pipeline based on all those different actions they were taking. It was challenging to get notifications at different steps. All of the activity was in separate places. So really understanding the data was very difficult. So even if you don't go with something like Pipeline Patriot, look into the options that are going to allow you to really consolidate the number of tools, because every tool that you add is one more chance that something's going to break, one more challenge when it comes to troubleshooting, one more set of data that you are probably missing. Every single program you add, it is eliminating the ability to get some of that data passed through to the next program. So how much more could you achieve in your business if you had all of these automations and these processes installed into your business? If I had to guess, it would be 2 times more, 3 times more, maybe even more than that, just depending on where you are. You might already have some of these processes in place, but you might be missing a select few. So I want you to really go back through this and say, what are those pieces that I'm missing from the pre-purchase, the purchase, and the post-purchase, or the internal and sales related processes that I could implement into my business to get that start to finish sales system that I have always wanted. So again, how to create your system. Number 1, understand your business model. Number 2, determine the best next step. And if you don't have a clear next step, this is the time to really think through it. Number 3, map out your value ladder and your offers. Number 4, audit your current systems, your campaigns, your automations. Number 5, implement those pre-purchase, purchase, post-purchase, internal sales, and support systems. Next, observe how it plays out in real life and edit or adjust as needed. So tech and automations and all of these things sounds amazing in theory, but sometimes the way that real people engage with them isn't always as we anticipate. So you want to pay close attention to that and make sure that you're constantly making those tweaks and changes to make it as natural as possible, as effective as possible. And then next, you want to use your new data in terms of what people are doing, the new KPI data that you're going to have, the conversion data that you're going to have, the data in terms of what are the things that people are resonating with the most and are moving forward on the most. How can we take that data and use it to make more educated advertising decisions? That is the goal, to constantly take what we're doing, tweak it, optimize it, and improve what we do moving forward. So hopefully you have found this tremendously helpful. If you are interested in learning about Pipeline Patriot or working with me in my mentorship or my mastermind, I would absolutely love to talk to you about it. So all of those links are going to be in the description below. Check them out, reach out, we'll talk, and hopefully I can help you get these same systems installed in your business as easy as humanly possible. So thanks so much for checking this out today, and I will see you on the next one.